the topic of my talk is about pedagogy. I was speaking to Bella at the break saying how pleased I was that he was talking about brain-based learning and the theory behind that, and how out of that comes the notion that actually there isn't really anything called teaching. It's really about learning. And it struck me while I was sitting there that if there's actually no such thing as teaching, and pedagogy is actually the act of teaching, then I don't really have anything to talk about. But I figure I should fill in the 30 minutes anyway. When I worked for the IB, over the course of the years that I worked for them, I was involved in the authorisation of more than 70 schools around Asia Pacific. This required me to be in the school for a period of 2 days, talking to teachers, looking at what they do, observing them. In addition to that, I had cause to visit quite a number of other schools for various reasons, and I was able to observe teachers in action then too. And prior to joining the IB, my main focus was actually curriculum and teaching and learning. So I was very happy when Atul asked me to speak on this topic in particular. So my perspective on this topic comes from my experience. And one of the things that I find really interesting about coming to events like this is that when I'm in the audience, I hear different sorts of perspectives, and I find them very enlightening. And I hope that you understand that the perspective I bring here is from my own experience and my observations. Of course, I'm using the word pedagogy here in its modern sense, not its original sense. In its original sense, dating from around about the 1700s, early 1700s, it was associated with the word pedant. And none of us these days would like to be, who regard ourselves as pedagogues, would like to be thought of as pedants, I hope. The title is Strategies to Enhance the Quality of Pedagogy. So I don't actually want to focus in on the strategies of pedagogy. What I want to focus in on is the strategies to enhance that pedagogy, if you understand the difference. So really my focus is going to be about what can happen in schools to do this. So that's really the question. How do we enhance the quality of pedagogy? And I'm interpreting that to mean, how do we broaden the repertoire of teaching skills that our teachers have? That's my definition of it. The reason that we want to do this, of course, is that we want to help teachers to broaden this repertoire, have a greater repertoire, so that they can help all of their students reach their academic potential, whatever that might be. And so that they can help all of their students gain confidence in themselves and in their ability to be learners. We also want them to help all their students develop the skills and attitudes towards learning that will enable them to continue to learn long after they leave the confines and the security of the school environment. We talk about lifelong learning. That's what we're talking about here. And of course, we want to help teachers broaden their repertoire of teaching skills so that teachers in turn can help the school attain its mission. Because I'll guarantee, I haven't actually seen any of your mission statements, although that's not really true. I have seen the Queenstown one because I was involved in the authorisation of it in 2005, I think it was. But I haven't seen the rest of you. But I've seen an awful lot of them, as you could imagine, visiting 70 schools for authorisation. And I can tell you, without any shadow of a doubt, every single one of them will refer to things like educating the whole person for lifelong learning to be a global citizen. They just rearrange those ideas. That's what missions and visions are all about. So I'm sure really that that's really what we're trying to help teachers contribute to. You know, the title itself implies that there is actually a need to improve. Enhance, improve pedagogy. So, are we meaning that there's a deficiency in the pedagogy that currently exists? I don't think the people sitting around here in this room would agree with that notion, that there is actually a deficiency. Maybe what there really is a stage of evolution in pedagogy, the pedagogy of teachers. And really what we're trying to do in this enhancing of the quality of pedagogy is to help teachers move along that evolutionary trail. Unfortunately, this is actually the most difficult task, I believe, for principals and other school leaders, to actually change what teachers do in schools. You know, it's been my observation, much to my chagrin, that you can talk to teachers about anything except one thing: what they do in the classroom. It's the one thing that they're not confident to talk about, they're not comfortable to talk about, because there's this implied notion that if you're talking about that and you're talking about, you know, broadening the repertoire or enhancing it, you're sort of implying a criticism that their teaching's poor. That's a common reaction. I'm not saying that everyone's like that, and I don't want to generalise too much, but it's quite common that there is this resistance to actually changing, there's a resistance to actually acknowledge that we are all, even those of us who started teaching in 1950, we are all on a continual journey of learning more about our craft, I hope, which ultimately would become an art. I don't really want to paint too bleak a picture of the attitude of teachers towards pedagogy. Sounds a bit strange, a strange thing to say really, since teachers are actually pedagogues and they have a negative attitude to it. What they really have a negative attitude towards, or what many of them do, is you questioning them about it, asking them to explain why are they doing things the way they are. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's not bad, it's not wrong. I'm just interested in if you could explain to me why you're doing what you're doing with this student, with this group of students, in this class, at this time. That's all I want to know.